This is the drone that lets me capture cinema-looking shots from places I wouldn't bother hauling a bigger rig. It's small enough to vanish in a jacket pocket, quiet enough to stay low-key, and the footage actually holds up in a real edit. The DJI Mini 5 Pro Fly More combo with the DJI RC 2 in the travel-friendly creator category. It's for people who want top-tier image quality without carrying a backpack full of gear. It's also a solid second camera for professionals who need something stealthy that still grades well next to their main setup. If you live on the road, shoot a lot of run-and-gun travel, real estate establishing shots, or quick social verticals that can still pass for client work, that's where this thing shines. The design follows the familiar foldable layout, but a few small touches matter in daily use. It's extremely light, and you feel that immediately when you unfold it. The arms don't lock with the rock-solid confidence of heavier models, and there's a little flex in the rear arms that makes me baby it more during setup and pack-down. The gimbal housing is prominent and purposeful, and the cover takes a moment to seat correctly. I've learned to line it up carefully so I'm not pressing on the gimbal motors. The micro SD slot is tucked in back, and if I'm wearing gloves or my hands are cold, popping a card in or out can be fiddly. On the flip side, 42 gigs of internal storage has saved me more than once when I rushed out the door without a card. The included ND filters in the combo are worth keeping in the bag because this sensor looks best near base ISO. I swap them based on the light and keep shutter where I want it for motion cadence. The RC2 controller with the built-in screen changes how fast I get airborne. I don't have to mount a phone, which means I can go from bag to takeoff in a minute or two. The sticks have a clean, linear feel that makes small moves easy. Under harsh noon sun, the screen is readable, though I still shade it with my body when I'm judging exposure or checking focus peaking in bright scenes. The two-way charging hub is straightforward and has become part of my pre-shoot routine. I rotate batteries as I shoot, and back at the car, I plug in all three at once so everything is topped off by the next stop. Startup is quick, and the GPS lock usually happens by the time I pick a takeoff spot. The link is stable and low latency, and the transmission image looks crisp enough to judge fine detail without constantly punching in. I've had a couple moments in dense Wi-Fi areas where the signal hiccuped around the 400 to 500 meter mark, but the link recovered quickly. When I'm standing in a spot with a lot of interference, I treat range estimates as optimistic and work closer to keep confidence high. One note from real use: if I leave the drone powered on at a desk while offloading footage or running a firmware update, it warms up fast. Pointing a small fan at it during long transfers has helped, and I try not to leave it idling on a table for more than a couple minutes. The core reason I reach for this model is the camera. The 1-inch sensor is a big deal in a body this small because it actually changes the way highlights roll off and how the shadows hold together. Shooting a sunset with blown sun in the frame, I can pull a surprising amount of detail out of foreground subjects without the murky chroma noise I'm used to seeing on smaller chips. It records 4K at 60, and HDR footage out of this thing looks clean without plastic skin tones or weird edge halos. When I switch into 10-bit D-Log-M or HLG, I get enough latitude to grade it next to my ground cameras. Matching it to a mirrorless body with a proper LUT has been smoother than I expected. The 50-megapixel photo mode is genuinely useful if I keep the aperture and ISO in their sweet spots. I've printed stills from well-lit shots and they hold up. The 2x crop for a tighter field of view is surprisingly usable as long as I keep exposure nailed. It's a great way to compress a background and change the feel of a scene without moving the drone dangerously close. In low light, nightscape earns its name. I've shot urban scenes at ISO values I'd normally avoid on a mini drone, and the files are still workable. It isn't magic. Fine detail softens a bit, and you'll see noise if you push too far. But storefronts and street lamps don't obliterate the frame, and shadows hold color better than I expected. If you shoot a lot at dusk or just after sunset, this matters. Flight performance in calm air is predictable and, honestly, calming. It hovers like a larger drone and responds smoothly to small stick inputs. I usually fly in a cinematic profile, and the little adjustments feel deliberate rather than twitchy. It's also quiet. Once it's up above tree height, most people on the ground don't notice it, which is ideal for candid city inserts. Wind is where the physics show. Along a coastal cliff with gusts, the drone holds position, but it works hard. and you'll see it in the live view as the horizon fights to stay level. I've picked up a touch of micro jitter on especially gusty days, the kind of heat shimmer look you get when the motors and gimbal are pushed to their limits. If the forecast calls for steady wind, I plan framing that's less sensitive to micro movement, or I simply wait for calmer windows. Obstacle sensing is excellent for a drone this size. The omnidirectional coverage, with help from forward-facing LiDAR, gives me confidence threading around obvious barriers and flying at low altitude at dusk. ActiveTrack 360 is more than a checkbox. The on-screen wheel makes it easy to position the drone relative to a moving subject and switch sides mid-shot. Tracking a cyclist on a gravel path, the drone predicted line changes well and didn't panic when the rider dipped under short tree cover. That said, thin branches and power lines are still trouble. I had a close call skimming under a canopy when a twig went unnoticed and nudged a prop. It recovered, but it reminded me that omnidirectional is an assist, not a guarantee. Over water, the downward sensors can misread the moving surface, so I keep extra altitude and fly manual lines for those shots. Real flight time is the honest limiter. The standard batteries, flown with a safety buffer so I'm not landing on fumes, have given me around the low 20-minute mark per pack on average days. Wind, aggressive flying, and cold temperatures cut that down. The Battery Plus extends sessions into the half-hour range, and that's when the combo really feels complete. The trade-off is weight and rules, which can vary depending on where you fly, so know your thresholds. Either way, having 3 batteries in the combo is essential for a normal shoot day with multiple setups. One specific shoot sticks with me. I was building a small travel montage in a new city. I grabbed a quick dawn reveal over a river with the bridge catching that early orange light. The gimbal's true vertical rotation let me frame a clean vertical clip without cropping. Then a minute later, I rolled it back to horizontal for a wide push across the skyline. I swapped to an ND to keep shutter where I wanted it. Tracked a runner along the waterfront using the on-screen wheel to slide from a rear follow into a side orbit, and then ended with a slow top-down over a plaza. All of those shots fit in the same backpack with a mirrorless body and a lens. That's the freedom I've wanted from a mini drone, without feeling like I'm compromising the footage. There are smart touches that reduce friction. The internal storage gives me a safety net when I forget a card. Quick Transfer moves clips to my phone fast enough to post while I'm still on location. The vertical shooting isn't a gimmick. It makes shorts and stories look clean because you're getting the full sensor height. The silent acoustics help me fly in public spaces without attracting a crowd, and the color profiles save me in post when I need to push an image. On the nitpicky side, the drone is picky about micro SD cards. Slower cards throw warnings and can stop a recording. V30 or better has been my rule, and I stick to brands I trust to avoid surprises. I've also seen occasional requests for compass calibration in new locations, and I've made it a habit to do a quick calibration when prompted so the hover stays true. If I measure the aircraft with a card inserted, my unit leans slightly over the magical sub-250 number. I registered mine to keep things simple, and I recommend checking your own unit on a reliable scale rather than assuming. All of this adds up to a very specific tool. When conditions are reasonable and I have a plan, I can get shots that genuinely hold up in a professional timeline. The size and silence mean I reach for it often, and the sensor means I don't wince when I open the files in post. I accept the compromises, treat wind with respect, keep an eye on thermals when stationary, use the right cards, and remember that obstacle avoidance helps but doesn't replace judgment. If you need bulletproof wind resistance, more headroom for aggressive moves, or very long flight times on a single pack, a larger platform is still the safer bet. If you value portability and image quality over everything else, and you want a drone you will actually carry every day, this Mini 5 Pro combo nails that brief. I see it as the ideal travel and creator drone, and a strong B camera for pros who need stealth and speed without sacrificing grading flexibility. It's the one I grab for sunrise missions, quick city inserts, real estate exteriors, and social-ready vertical clips that don't look like an afterthought. Keep your expectations aligned with physics, and it rewards you with footage that looks much bigger than the aircraft that captured it. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the DJI Mini 5 Pro Fly More combo with DJI RC2. Thank you for watching.